None of that. What's up, in War Eagle, everybody? It's your guy, Ike Jones. We're in here. Live Town reaction show. Auburn gets the win versus Monmouth, 87-58. Hopefully, everybody's having a good night, good holiday season. As we get into the new year, Auburn gets the win versus Monmouth. Go ahead and share the content with somebody out there, please, and thank you for those of you who are in here. And let's get into this conversation, talking a little bit about what we got going on with Auburn. Um, Sloppy game, if we're being honest, to start this one out. Auburn looked like they just were not really prepared early. And Monmouth came out hot, and they came out hot really in both halves. But then Auburn just kind of did what they were supposed to do to go ahead and finish this one out. So you get the win, but definitely still shows some things that Auburn needs to work on, right? Like you still have opportunities for growth in this one. So hopefully Auburn is able to go ahead and get themselves prepared for the SEC season that's coming up. Coming in, joining me live, looks like the guys from the Up Tempo gang are here. You guys give me a thumbs up when you're ready, and we'll get you in here on the live. My guy, Dustin Smith, ready to go. Dustin, what are your thoughts on this one?
Oh man, slow start and kind of expected it after a long break, right? But eventually, just felt like Auburn was going to put their foot on the gas pedal and get the job done. It's exactly what they did. A little sloppy on the boards at first, the defensive end, and they were kind of hitting some shots where I'm like, all right, they're not going to keep making these shots. And Auburn just like Auburn's going to do a lot this year, just killing teams with depth.
Right.
Just your guys are going to get in foul trouble. Your guys are going to get tired. We're going to have fresh legs out there. I think the big thing for me tonight was the emergence of Ja'Kai Howard. Like the fun debate is which dunk was better.
Right.
Just electrifying that windmill, unreal, dude. But the opportunity that he's had in these last couple of games to get some time on the court and kind of figure out his role as well. So I'm just really excited, man. It's Janai didn't have like a big type night. I know he still had the double double.
Which is crazy. He didn't seem like he
Yeah, it
did
was
very
very
much, and he
quiet.
still had a double double in
Very
this game.
quiet. I
But
think
yeah,
that's because we're so used to him just going off. But when you look at the scoring, just really balanced. And the thing that stood out to me tonight specifically is very unselfish. Everyone is just happy to make the right play, make the right pass, make that extra pass, get it to the open guy, and we're just playing team basketball. And we can hit you from all kind of different angles, man. And Bruce has a versatile team that he can do a lot of different things on the defensive side of the floor and on the offensive side, just kind of kill you all over the place. So it's a fun team to watch.
Blake, jump in here. What are your thoughts immediately after this one?
I'm with Dustin on this one. Monmouth, I felt like they come out a little, early and they were hitting shots, and it took a minute for Auburn to kind of get in rhythm, right? Like first game back, Monmouth 2-10. Going to take a minute to get settled in, and once Auburn got settled in, I felt like they started attacking the paint at a high level, and they destroyed Monmouth. They knew that they had a mismatch down there, and I'll tell y'all this. I know Denver Jones and you got Janai and Cardwell and all of that. But that man, Tahad Pettiford,
Beast.
if Auburn wants to win a national championship, he will take Auburn to that natty.
Yeah.
I think it is Tahad. And the more Ja'Kai gets comfortable and he starts finding his game, if he can do that, it's going to be really, really difficult to beat Auburn. I think this is probably the most complete team Bruce has ever had.
Yeah, I mean, I think easily this is the most complete team. If you guys are just jumping here, make sure you share the content out. We're doing a live reaction. Auburn versus Monmouth getting the victory here, 86-58. 87, to 58. But let's dive in or dig in, I should say, to what you just said about the freshmen there, specifically talking about the guard play is what's let Auburn down in these last few tournament runs. Like if we're just you have to have guys that are at the guard position that are able to make tough shots and able to make good decisions. And Tahad Pettiford is a guy who makes tough shots and he makes good decisions. I mean, every now and then you'll see him do something and you're like, okay, that's a freshman mistake right there. But he doesn't make a lot of those.
Yeah.
The shot making that he has is not freshman level shot making. Like, he is a tough shot maker, and you can just see it when he's out there. He's got the moxie and he wants to take those shots. Definitely looking forward to seeing how SEC play turns out for him, because this is going to be a grind going into that season. But I just want to get your thoughts on that, Dustin, about Tahad Pettiford and just kind of what he brings as a freshman guard for this team.
Yeah, he just has that extra bounce, that extra juice. He's just so electric. He just, like Blake said, he has something that we haven't had at the point guard position in a long time, maybe ever. Like, I love Jared Harper, right? But Tahad, just the ceiling is so high, and I think that all being on a team that has so many seniors and is so experienced has kind of allowed him to work himself into his game. He didn't have to come in and be that guy from game one. That, he was able to come in, find his way, and now I think coming into SEC play, he's ready to go. So yeah, we all are going to have high expectations for this team. We saw the graphic they put up at the end of the game. If it ended today, and I know that if we haven't even started conference play, it's a long way to go, but right now Auburn would be the number one overall seed.
Yeah.
And I don't think a whole lot of that's going to change in the SEC. The SEC is tough, but we've already gone through a pretty big grind and shown how good this team is. So, which is why Bruce set it up that way. And to come out this non-conference the way that we have, I didn't expect this. I expected 2 or 3 losses and would have been happy with 2 or 3 losses.
Yeah.
And here we're sitting with 1 loss close on the road in Cameron Indoor Stadium. So it's big time, man, what Tahad brings. And we know we're going to be in that game in March. We know that it comes down to guard play. We know it killed us in the past. We saw last year Aiden was unplayable and Trey got tired, and it was what it was. That's what happened in that Yale game. And then you didn't have CBM on the court to kind of help you out and save you. So, yeah, man, he just brings that extra little juice that Auburn hasn't had at that position in a long time. And I think that he has that clutch gene as well, and that's going to come in crucial down the stretch.
Yeah, in the biggest games for Auburn this year, he has shown up and he has had his biggest moments. So he absolutely has that clutch ability in him. Gonna jump in here. If you guys haven't seen, we got a poll going in the live chat. Which of the 2 Ja'Kai Howard dunks do you like the best, the windmill or the reversed alley-oop? I'll pose the question to my panel as we go over here as I check through the comments. But which one are you guys voting for? Best dunk of the night from Ja'Kai, the windmill or the reverse?
The windmill, hands down. The windmill, to me, it's how powerful it was. It was with authority, and I like the reverse, and the lob was perfect, but man, that windmill, just the level of difficulty of that dunk in game. All right, that's a dunk contest dunk. All right, he did it in game, which makes it that much better in my opinion.
Yeah, the pass on the alley oop was sick. The pass was very nice, right on point, nice dunk. He didn't have to put that little extra bit on it. He could have just dunked it. He said, "Nah, let me windmill this thing." It's the windmill, dude. That's a showstopper right there.
Yeah, I think the reverse was more unexpected. Like I felt like he was gonna windmill the first one when I saw him go up, but the reverse, I was just like, yo, what are we doing right here? But yeah, I think the windmill is a little more ridiculous. I think the level of difficulty of that one. There are guys who can catch a reverse and do that, but there ain't a lot of guys who can catch that windmill and make that happen off of the bounce the way he did. All right, so let's get in here and look at these comments. I'll start with Nina. Appreciate you as always. Green Name Gang checking in. I can count on Auburn basketball to keep my spirits up. If you are an Auburn fan, basketball has been your salvation the last couple of years, and continuing to be so right now. That is absolutely a fact. Let's see what else we got here. A quiet double-double is wild. You are absolutely correct. It is crazy to think that you can say double-double and quiet in the same sentence. But Janai Broom, 14 points on 4 of 8 shooting, took 8 shots, guys. He only took 8 shots in this game. And he missed a couple of free throws, right? He missed 4 free throws, and he still had, the quiet double-double and 11 rebounds in this game with 4 assists on top of that. Crazy stat line in 27 minutes there for Janai Broom. Let's see here. Dwayne Loggins says, hate it when we play bad and win by 30. War Eagle. Yeah, it's I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, oh man, we played a bad game, 30-pointer, well, 29. You're 1 point away from a 30-pointer. But yeah, winning big and really feeling as if your team did not play their best basketball is
Yeah.
kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, props to Monmouth. They came out with a really good strategy, particularly in the first half, of how they wanted to attack the on-ball double teams, and they were getting that opposite corner look away from with the skip pass. Got a couple of open threes, and they made some tough shots in this game, right? Like, you got to tip your hat on some of the shots that they made. You're like, all right, bro, like, come on. What's the kid's name in the second half that came out hot for them? Let me go and make sure. Valencia came out in the second half, and he's like pulling up from 20 over the top of Janai, and you're just like, okay, all right, dude, whatever. Like, I mean, maybe that's in your game, and I just haven't watched enough Monmouth basketball, but like, all right, bro. But they made some good shots in this one. I got to be honest, I felt like the whistle for the first time this year was favorable towards Auburn. There were a couple of times where I was like, I don't know if that was a foul. The step back three Janai had, I think that was a clean play right there instead of a foul. And there were some other times where I felt like Auburn fouled the guy and they didn't get the whistle. So first time in a long time that I think I can come into a post game and say, hey, the officials didn't hose us in this one. They actually gave us home cooking for once with the whistle. So hopefully that will continue throughout tournament. I mean, throughout conference play.
Yeah, I wanted to give a shout out real quick to number one for Monmouth, the guard. I felt like he was a playmaker. Yeah, I felt like he was a playmaker, and he took a tough blow there at the end, and I thought that was a foul, and he come back and fought with his team. Man, I want to shout him out.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a guy. He is their leading scorer, and he's just a bucket, man. Like he just goes out there and gets buckets, and you gotta love guys. He's slight of frame. He's a 6'7" dude, but he's only 160 pounds. But he could fill it up when he gets the opportunity and he gets a good look at it. So I don't know what year he is, but that feels like one of them. You saw him play against us, and then the next year you're going to see him play in the in an Auburn uniform type of situations where they just kind of, hey, are you happy over there in Monmouth? We can. You see what we did with Miles Kelly, right?
Yeah.
Come on over here. We can, So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Another one here. Bird in Beeham says 22 assists to 7 turnovers. That's the kind of stat line you definitely want to see for your team sharing the basketball. There were a couple of moments where I felt like Auburn was being a little selfish with the basketball early in the game. But once they got it going, once you went on the 10-0 Chaney Johnson run, I think Auburn figured out, hey, if we share the ball, we can get pretty much what we want to here. And you started seeing better shot selection from Auburn from right about 5 minutes left in the half through the remainder of the game. But just kind of thoughts on the way this team has shared the basketball this year. I'll start with you on that one, Dustin.
Yeah, this is a smart basketball team. They play like they have a bunch of veterans, which obviously they do. And if you're going to play for Bruce Pearl, then you understand that your minutes might be cut down a little bit because he likes to play deep into his bench, but you're going to get your opportunities. You just got to be unselfish. And if you buy into that, you're going to win a lot of basketball games in college. And everybody on this team is bought into it, and they're playing like a team. They're playing like a unit. And we've seen it. Like they've been tested already, man. That Iowa State game, they've shown you that they can dig down, find a way to come back. On the road in Houston with this whole national controversy about a plane being turned around and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
That
seems like a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
It does, because there's been so many big wins since then.
Yep.
So yeah, this team is they're resilient, but I take notes on all the games, and I keep finding myself writing down high IQ. Like this is just a smart team. They don't make a lot of mistakes, and they handle certain situations very well. All the situational type stuff that maybe like that we see in some other Auburn sports don't get handled so well. The little details. This team, they handle all the little details, man. They're clean, they're smart, and they play like a veteran team, and it's exciting to watch.
To pivot off of that to something you mentioned already, which is kind of the play of the freshman Tahad Pettiford, the play where late in the shot clock, the ball gets tipped, almost goes into the backcourt. Tahad Pettiford grabs it, doesn't panic. He gets it into the front court, flips the ball over to Chad. Chad makes a three before the clock expires and gets fouled. Like that's a
Yeah.
play where I think there might have been like a crazy heave last year from a guard instead of a composed one. Another one, Denver Jones, late in the shot clock. He's pressed out top going in the second half, and he gets into the lane and he throws a lob to Dylan right before the shot clock expires.
Yep.
It's like we're not panicking in those moments. We realize, okay, I got time, get composed, go make a play. Definitely a composed team this year in some of those moments, and that's been evident by the big game so far. But yeah, thoughts on just kind of the way this team is playing under pressure and in those moments. Blake.
Fellas, I think this Auburn team knows that they have so many weapons. I feel like it's not just one or two guys anymore. Like the past couple years, it just felt like even with Jabari, it was like, man, if Jabari and Walker don't go off, like we might be in trouble.
Yeah.
Like when we went down to Gainesville
Yeah.
with Jabari and Walker, like Jabari kind of struggled and we ended up losing that game. And it's like this year you have Miles Kelly that can jack it from three. You got Chad, the 3-point maker, man. I mean, that dude, 2 4-point plays tonight. Like he had the opportunity for two.
Yeah.
You rarely see one in a game. You got Chaney Johnson, who's develops. You know, I know that's a popular word going around Auburn right now. But a guy that come in and he developed and he's grown into his own, right? And there's just so many options. And Denver Jones, he does it on both ends. That's what's so impressive to me is, you know, there's guys at the next level in the NBA who they know they got to go for 40, so they just don't do it on the defensive end. But Denver says, "Hey, I'll do it on both ends, man."
Yeah.
Like one of the best defenders in the country, and I think that Janai might get all the love and all the highlights and get talked about, but Janai also knows, man, I got shooters around me. I got guys like Dylan Cardwell. I mean, come on, man. If he's doing what he did tonight, have fun beating Auburn. Like
Yeah.
there's so many
it's a tough team to
playmakers.
beat, man. It's gonna go live tomorrow. I had a conversation with Max Barr from over at Southeastern 16 previewing the Auburn SEC schedule. And I was like, man, I defy somebody to find a true weakness for this Auburn team. Like,
Yeah.
there are things that they're less good at, but a true weakness. Now, I'm going to do a whole other segment with talking about the one thing that I feel like is going to be the biggest issue for Auburn going into conference play. But like they're good at every facet of the game. They play defense well. They're not great free throw shooters, but good free throw shooters. Again, find me a weakness. They can shoot from three. They're hella efficient on the inside. They share the basketball. They don't turn the ball over a bunch. Just they're deep, so it's not as if you just got to rely on two or three. Like it's just find me a thing where you're like, they're terrible at this right here. They defend well on the interior. They force you in tough shots on the exterior. They're in the passing lane to make sure that you're not getting easy open looks consistently as far as just finding clean passes. Offensively, they play well inside, outside. They've got a post presence. They got 3-point shooters. They got guys that can drive and make tough shots. Find me a weakness. And that's not saying they're never going to lose a basketball game, but good Lord, man. They just find it's a new thing. All right, cool. Denver Jones, nobody's making shots early. Don't worry about it. I'll just knock down a couple of threes and keep us close until we can figure it out. And then you get into the middle of it. And it's like, okay, Chaney Johnson, you just go on a 10-point run by yourself. No problem. Janai, finish off the half with another 4. Why don't you? Okay, cool. We're going to get to the half in a game where they came out and gave you their best effort and you still had like 20 on them going into the freaking half. And you come out in the second half and you're just getting lobs all over the top of your head. Just like, what do you do? How do you, again, I know it's Monmouth. I'm not overreacting to it, but it's not as if we haven't seen this story play out over and over and over again. You get down by double digits to a top 10 team. Oh, whatever. We'll just come back and whack them the rest of the game.
Yep.
It's just, it's a difficult team to figure out a way to beat. And I challenge somebody to find me a true weakness for the team.
Yeah, you feel like they can win any kind of game, right? If it's one of those games which we know we're going to get into an SEC play, you might go to Starkville, the Hump on a Wednesday night, and it might be the first one to 60 wins. But you know that Auburn can put the clamps down defensively and win that game. It might be one of the nights where you got to get to 90, and you feel like Auburn can win that. And then if you go back to last year, all of Auburn's wins were blowouts. this year, this
Yeah.
team has been tested and proved multiple times that in that fourth quarter, in that tight moment, they can come through in the clutch and make the play. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you're saying.
I'll say this too. This team is a heave uh, at the shot clock buzzer from half court in Cameron Indoor from being undefeated. Like, guy pulls up, 1 second left on the shot clock, he heaves one up and it goes in. And
Yeah, that was a crazy shot.
yeah, so I mean, there is no weakness, man. Like you said, they've been battle tested. Um, you've had moments at the end of the game where you've had to draw something up and go make a play, and where we've seen Auburn struggle in years past. They've had the opportunities to go make plays on final shots and get tip backs, and you've been in big time atmospheres. You've played in neutral site games. Like, you've done it all. You've done it all, and I just think Bruce, with this non-con schedule and the way he set it up this year, I think that's what you want going into SEC play. This is what you want going into the tournament. And I'll put this one on the record, y'all. I know number one means a lot to people, but I couldn't care less about ever being ranked number one. Just
Yeah.
get me a number one seed, because I think John Rothstein said it the other night. If Auburn is the number one seed in the South region, they will play their Sweet 16 and Elite Eight games in Atlanta, Georgia. And that is massive for
Yeah.
Auburn.
Yeah, that I would. I don't even know if anybody wants to see that happen. Because I mean, Houston, they won that game, but like, they cried about it the entire time with them getting the
Yeah.
first round matchup in Birmingham. If Auburn's in Atlanta for the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight, bro,
Yep.
that arena is going to be so pro Auburn that it'll have to be every other team that came, the fans from every other team that came to watch their team play collectively to equal, I think, the Auburn support that you're going to see in that arena.
Yep.
So it's going to be crazy. Super chat here from Dwayne Logan, so who are apparently called Loggins. Dwayne Logan said, Ike called me Loggins, and yeah, it's only 29-point win after the walk-ins got in. Forgive you, Ike. I can't wait for conference play, War Eagle. Yes, please forgive me, because I will absolutely butcher words, names, numbers, statistics. There's no limit to the amount of things that I will absolutely make stupid gaffes on. So it is what it is, especially when you're doing things live. You don't have an opportunity to correct yourself. Editing live is not fun. Any other thoughts before we get out of here, guys? Let me check in on my poll here and see, pause, what the folks have been saying. Looks as if the reverse is winning by a hefty margin. 62% of people on 53 votes say that they preferred the reverse to the windmill in the dunk poll there. So
Ain't mad at it.
Yeah. Any final thoughts before we get out of here, guys?
Dustin, you know?
I'm just really proud of this team, and the SEC is as good as it's ever been. So this is going to be a lot of fun. And I knew when Bruce put together this non-conference schedule that he was really confident in this group, because there's no way that you put together this kind of schedule if you don't feel like your team can compete and win a lot of those games. It wasn't like he was just going to set us up for failure. He wanted these guys to be tested before they come into SEC play, and then obviously build up the resume to get that all-important number one seed that Blake just mentioned. So, and then again, man, just to come out of it with only one loss, and that one loss being what it is, to where, like, we know that the committee is not even going to hold that against Auburn. They're going to kind of view it as a plus.
Yeah.
Like, you went there and you were competitive. So just really excited for SEC play. Hopefully everybody stays healthy. That's going to kind of be the key thing, obviously, just staying healthy and surviving the grind. I think the games are going to be a little more physical on a night-to-night basis than what we've experienced so far. But I think Auburn's ready for that. I think Auburn's built for that. And so, yeah, we just got a lot of guys. We got a lot of leaders. We got a lot of guys that we can go to in that clutch moment that always just seem to make a play. This team's never rattled. They're always calm, composed, make the right play, do the right thing. So I have very, very high expectations, and I think that every Auburn fan should.
Blake?
Yeah, I think this team, from the beginning of the year, with the fight on the plane and everybody jumping on that, it was on Good Morning America, and they tried to tear Auburn down, and you go and you respond, and now everybody's in love with Auburn. You get on Twitter and people can't stop tweeting about Janai Broom and Player of the Year. And, you go to Cameron Indoor, you have that opportunity as a program. And there's just so many things that this season has brought that you're at the top of Ken Palm. You're being talked about as a top, 4 seed in the tournament. And you go into, in my opinion, what the best conference in America is right now is the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah.
And you're going into conference play, and you got to think, man, if you win, like they were talking about tonight, if you win 14, maybe 15 games, you win the conference.
Yeah.
That's how hard this schedule is going to be. And as Auburn fans, we're going to drop a game in SEC play. Don't panic. Don't freak out. It's going to happen. And I think this team is going to respond to any adversity that they face. And I think we have a special, special team on our hands. And we could be booking some trips to San Antonio, Texas. That's how confident I am.
Hey, listen, I am hoping that that's going to be the case, because this team, this program, I won't say this team, this program has had the guys to be able to get there for a while. But this one right here feels like if you don't get it done this year,
pain.
I don't know when you're going to get it done, man, because golly, this is a well-composed team. Super chat here before we get out of here from Nonina says, if we lose to Bama, I am going to be so mad. Listen, I'm not going to be mad if they lose the one at Bama.
Yeah.
But you can't lose at home versus them. But I would love to get the sweep there versus Bama, just because, I mean, it's Bama. I don't like them. So hopefully Auburn can handle business there. And I will say this last thing before we get out of here, let you guys plug what you got coming up over there on Up Tempo. But Miles Kelly's still not 100%, guys.
Yep.
I think that's the crazy. It's like Janai Broom still not back 100% from his injury. This team is just getting Ja'Kai Howard worked into the rotation. This team can absolutely still get better as this season progresses. And that should be a scary thought for anybody who is not a fan of the Auburn Tigers, because if it gets any worse, then they're going to be mopping people as they go down the stretch here. So looking forward to seeing how this goes. Talk to me about what's going on up tempo style over there before we leave.
Well, we're dropping 2 member pods tonight. That's the first thing, is if you want to join over there, come chill with us tomorrow night. We go live. We're going live at 5:30 tomorrow night, Dustin?
Yeah, 5:30, because we got that playoff game tomorrow night. So
yeah,
get it in 5:30 so we can all watch the college football playoff.
Yeah, I gotta watch. Who is it? Genty and Penn State play tomorrow night, I believe. I gotta see what Genty's all about. I want to see if he so-called deserved the Heisman. So, but that's another thing. We've been getting into it in the game day group chat over there, and but yeah, we got 2 member pods dropping that Dustin recently did, and I'm gonna release those tonight, and then come chill with us tomorrow, man. 5:30 Central Time. We're gonna be talking about basketball. I think it's gonna be a pretty hype show, man. All the love to Bruce Pearl.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, we are about to get out of here. Before you all leave, make sure that you hit that thumbs up on the video, share the content with somebody, and we'll be back at you all with more content again tomorrow morning. I've got the SEC preview pod with Max Barr dropping out here on the channel, so that's coming for you. Green Name Gang. I got more film. I already did a couple of film reviews for Jackson Arnold. I've got some more Eric Singleton film we're going to do. I got both of the tackles that we got in the portal coming for you guys. So make sure you lock in with the membership for that. And we're out of here. Wait a minute. One more super chat before we go. My bad. Dwayne Logan says, see the comments above. Appreciate you, Ike. I definitely saw you, Dwayne, man. I hate that I missed your super chat from the Marathon Live that day, but I appreciate you tapping in with me. But we're out of here, y'all. Until the next time. And as always, War Eagle.